The National Security Special Advisor, Sidney Mufamadi, says there's a process underway to address allegations that South Africa sold weapons to Russia. Mufamadi held a virtual media briefing following his recent trip to the U.S. He was President Cyril Ramaphosa's special envoy that led a delegation to the U.S. House of Representatives, calling on President Joe Biden to review America's relations with South Africa.
The President is intending to do in this regard is not without precedent. You will remember the erstwhile Chief of the Defense Force, George Meiring. George Meiring approached the president of the time, Nelson Mandela, and gave him a document containing what he said was intelligence information about a number of people who were plotting to carry out a coup against President Mandela's government. They included his own deputy, George Meiring's deputies, General Spiwenyanda, and others. And President Mandela appointed a retired judge. The rest is history. He's competent, that retired judge, to weigh this purported intelligence against other sources which he is competent to invite people connected with those sources to give him information, to see if the information that was given to President Mandela can be confirmed or deconfirmed. So the president is not an omnipotent being who just gets information and decides what to do. He has to try to act with the benefit of the input and advice of competent persons. So this information is critical. It's critical, I'm sure. Its criticality justifies the appointment of a retired judge and not to take a position which says, let's save money by asking the president to sit at his house and decide what to do with after he has read the information given to him.
Stay with the story now and speak to Professor Christopher Isike, Director of the African Center for the Study of the United States at the University of Pretoria. Prof, thank you so much for your time. There's a lot that came out from the briefing that we heard earlier on from the special envoys, but are we none the wiser listening to what they had to say, given the answers that they gave, when it comes to this credible evidence that could potentially exist on whether or not South Africa did, in fact, sell weapons to Russia?
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, like you said, there was quite a lot that was said, and we wish that this was done earlier. But we at least we have a sense of the direction that the government is taking on this issue. I had maintained earlier on in the previous interview that, you know, we as a country, we do not need a commission of inquiry, you know, to get to know a simple thing as whether weapons were loaded onto Lady R when it's docked in Cape Town in December. It is information, like Sophie Mokoena asked during that briefing, that the president should be able to get from at least his Minister of Defense or even the National Security Advisor himself. So having to do a commission of inquiry to get answers is a bit disturbing.
The fact that the president is talking about this particular inquiry, the special envoy also justifying and defending this decision to have this particular inquiry, what does it tell us about what is going on behind closed doors, particularly when you're looking at this relationship that they say that they want to treat delicately?
Well, look, if you come to my house and tell me that something happened in my house, if I am sure that of my position as head of household, I would tell you straight on whenever I'm asked that it did not happen. All right, and I would ask whosoever is making that accusation to provide the evidence to the contrary. But if I say, well, I am not sure, that's what happened, but I would investigate, I would call my neighbors and ask if something did happen, it means that either I'm not sure of what was happening, or I am not being, I'm being economical with the facts of what happened and what I know. And either way, it's not good enough.
Especially because, Prof, when I was listening to this briefing, they talk about how they were the first ones to bring this particular information. So surely there should have been a lot more at the table that they brought before these particular questions started arising?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's correct. So there is a lot that we are not knowing. And imagine if this briefing we had from Dr. Mufamadi happened immediately arrived last week or maybe early this week. This briefing had happened. The country will not be where it is today. I also heard the president even having to be asked the question in KZN and having to answer and giving, for the first time in months, a much more clear-cut answer and direction of where the country is on these issues. And South Africans can now rest, as should have been the case long ago. So I think that it is good that it's been resolved this way. Both countries have reiterated that the relations between them are still, strong. Yeah. And I'm sure that, both countries would help each other to try and bring a resolution to the current conflict in Ukraine.